Do you believe in having a soulmate?
No.
What's that?
So we're not
soulmate?
talking romantic soulmate
No, I'm
now.
even
The
saying
Lord
is
is the owner of my soul. Even in romance.
away.
Even in romance. What's going on around here?
What's that soulmate where?
What is it through?
Let's keep our souls.
Now we're coming down.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'm not quite sure I still fully grasp the concept of what a soulmate is supposed to be. So I'm not sure I can speak to that. 'Cause it's some
Even
sort
in
of
romantic
predestination.
relationships,
Is it
It's
not
preordination.
preordination, predestination?
Were
Were you predestined? Were you selected beforehand?
I don't understand.
During manufacturing, they said, okay, this piece and this piece should go
Manufacturing.
together. I don't know. I don't quite get the concept of soulmate.
No judgment here, just a friendly ear tuning every day, bring your worries near. Life count show, let the heartbeats flow. With Fade, we heal and grow. Life on the couch, with Fade. Talk it all out, set your mind free. Life on the couch, stories we share. Fade.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Life Couch with Faye T. So, here we talk about things that happen to the everyday people. We discuss life experiences with the aim or hope that somebody out there will relate or can relate with what we're discussing and will know that there is light at the end of the tunnel. There's a way out. It doesn't matter what you're going through, it doesn't define you. Things will be better. All right, today, I have two guests. These two people, hey, there's a reason I put them together. And hopefully, you guys stay till the end of this and then you say, I did a good job. All right, I will allow them introduce themselves. I have Itunu and Dami here with me on set. Yay! But now, I will allow you guys introduce yourselves. Who wants to go first?
The ladies.
Who is the lady? Who is the non-lady?
For it, girl.
The first response that comes to mind is, you know how you do, they ask you in an interview, introduce yourself. That's the first lines that run through my mind. But this is not that.
No, it's not.
Right. So my name is Damlola Ajiboye, and I work as a project officer with a non-profit. And I'm a girl.
All right. Is that the only thing you do, Dami?
Is it's not? Is that on? I think so.
You tell me. What are your interests?
Interest. I like to sleep. Yeah.
Okay. Let's
Yeah.
take that. All right. Let's move on to Miss Itunu. Introduce yourself.
Hi everyone, my name is Itunu Omotaya. I'm a human resources professional. I work in the healthcare industry. I also lead a non-profit organization, Maple Life Foundation.
Yes.
It's a non-profit for immigrant youth. What else? I'm a girl, like that.
You're just a girl. I know somebody who is in my house.
Just a girl.
You see, I'm just a girl.
Yeah.
Anyways, so
Very nice
ladies, what
female.
are we talking about today?
It's what we share.
Okay, which is friendship.
The love.
So
Oh,
today,
that's
I did you say that's it?
No, that's what we shared. This is new information to me.
We'll be talking about friendship, and I really want to hear. We want to hear stories of those, the different kind of friendships you've had. So stay tuned. Wait till the end. I'm sure it'll be a good time. Enjoy the ride. All right, I will start, and this is just the beginning. We may not even follow, but from your conversations, what does friendship mean to you, Dami?
Why dummy though? Hey, okay. All right. I don't know, relationship between friends. And I guess it differs on different levels. I don't know how you came together. I guess it differs, right? I think, yes, there's a general term. and it's words that has been used loosely, can be used loosely. But I just think, yeah, basically, summary relationship between friends is what I'd say friendship is.
Okay.
Right.
And do you have a different opinion?
So yeah, I would say
Yeah, you have a different opinion.
I kind of do.
Okay.
Okay, this should be nice.
So yeah, friendship is meaningful relationship
Mm-hmm.
between two people,
Mm-hmm.
and I use the word meaningful very strongly.
Okay.
I I don't agree that friendship is a general term, but I do agree that it's been used very loosely.
Why?
No, it's on site.
I don't agree that it's a general term, but I do
Mhm.
agree that it's been used very loosely and
Mhm.
carelessly over the years. But yeah.
Okay, why do you say it's not a general term?
Looking at the term friendship itself and what it is supposed to be, who
Mean.
a friend is supposed to be, right?
Mhm.
It's meaningful relationship between
Mhm.
two people, right? There's that.
Mhm.
Okay, I'm gonna come to the qualities and all of that
Shit.
later. Ladies and gentlemen, I am going to do my absolute best to be very serious on this podcast. But if it's getting too difficult, is this lady part of the characteristics of friendship? Anyways, so I was saying that if you look at the word friendship itself and what it's supposed to entail,
Mm.
like I said earlier, using the word meaningful very strongly, I
Mhm.
do not believe that with the way friendship has been used, I don't believe you can build meaningful relationship in that sense with just anybody and everybody.
Mm.
I do not believe that you should build certain kinds of relationship with anybody and everybody. And friendship is one of those.
Okay.
I think the reason why friendship has been used very loosely over the years is the fact that we've not really explored the other terms
Mhm.
that a relationship can go by. I don't believe friendship is the
acquaintances,
only
for
thank you.
example.
I don't believe friendship is the only word that can describe what two people
It's platonic.
share,
Mhm.
right?
Okay.
I also believe there's a difference between being friends and being friendly.
Mm.
So you can be friendly with someone. It doesn't make
mean
you
you're
their friend.
friends. Okay.
Yeah.
All
my
right.
thoughts.
Thank you for that. So think about, because I'm coming back to you. The way I'm hearing, whatever I'm hearing, is you have been burnt. Think about that story. You're going to share. You are going to share that story. So what are the qualities? Just because you take this really seriously, like friendship means, it doesn't mean. What are those qualities that you're looking for, or that you look for? So are you? Is it something you are deliberate about, or is it that friendship just happens?
Oh,
Is it?
well, so
Do you know what I mean?
yeah, yeah. I feel like I've come to a place where I'm very deliberate about every relationship in my life, whether friendship or whatever it is, right? I've come to learn to be very deliberate. I don't know that I've been burnt.
Okay.
I think it's just that, of course, there's the growing up experiences, but I think it's also that I've been privileged to really take some of those experiences as opportunities to learn. And also having an understanding of, what my life is like, where I'm headed, and, all of those things. I think self awareness also plays a very big part in friendship. So, back to the qualities of friendship, I'm going to give, general qualities of things that, would make friendship friendship.
For you. So
Well, yeah.
Customize it to yourself.
Yeah, for me. So I would say three things, three qualities. One would be shared values. Another one would be safety. Right. If I'm going to be friends with you, I want to be sure that I'm safe with you. And, so let's go back to the first one, shared values. Shared values, there are a couple of things there, right? So what are our values? And I want to have those conversations. I want to be sure that we align on that level. And like I said, safety, I want to be sure that I feel safe with this person. And that is born out of how I naturally am with relationships.
Okay.
And I hope I'm, at the end of this podcast, I hope I don't sound very cold at it. Well, I won't, because it is what it is, right? I'm a very relationship driven person. And I tend to really pour and really invest and really, all of that. So I've learned to really be intentional That's the word, right? With, how
So
I go
you're
about
just
that
pouring
timeline.
out into someone who won't pour back in
I
or
mean, there
won't
are all of those
appreciate it.
conversations, right? So yeah, number two is safety.
Mhm.
The third one will be, just that shared commitment between the two people to really make the friendship work,
Like I do for you, you do for me. It's not one sided.
right?
Mm.
So yes, those three qualities I would say have also sort of come to be like over the years and with experiences and yeah.
Okay, so I take it that you are checking for these three things, and if you see that these things are not there,
I've reached the bus stop.
so Dami, how do you form your friendships? Do they just happen, or are you deliberate about them, or
Hmm. I'd say a lot of the friendships that I have maintained has been as a result of my environment, the shared space, church, school, work, right? And those environments, you have shared purpose or goal while you're there, right? So that is usually the beginning. Then it's not a matter of being intentional, like you said, um, about it. So yeah, so those usually are the basis, the foundation, and then you realize that all of those qualities you mentioned. And one of the things I'd even add to that, and I think is non-negotiable, is trust,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
it kind of
That's
ties
one of the
with
values.
safety, or
Yeah, and
Yeah,
safety.
is that's trustworthiness. And I think there's also, and I think you kind of said that it's just a matter of semantics, right? Is that mutual understanding? You know who that person is, they know who you are. So it's very easy to accept, and yeah, so there's that. So I would say yes, those environments kind of create an environment for you to find those people, but it takes there's further steps to building that. And then you said you used the word intentional. I think there was a different word. You're using a lot of words, but I can't remember.
It is what it is.
Yeah, so that's what's your question again? I feel like I'm digressing a bit.
what qualities?
Yes, okay, so I
And
said
then do you just allow friendship happen,
mm,
or are you like, if you don't have this, no?
well,
Don't do this. That's not what I do.
That's what it sounded like.
I think maybe years back, growing up or younger, you would have been, you just use that's why I said use the word loosely. You just attribute because you just
Yeah.
you're not a sister, they're not your brother, so you're like, you're just my friend. And then you grow up more and you realize that you don't just want to associate yourself, because when you say somebody's your friend, there's an association, right? You don't want to associate yourself with just anybody. And especially if you're like me, reputation is a thing, right? And so once you put a label, whatever we do kind of reflects one way or the other, or you just assume that you share the same values or attributes. Like if your friend is, it just makes sense. Birds of a feather, right? So it's been different over the years, right? And I am one of those that I am friendly, or we're not necessarily friends. And you might not know that we're not necessarily friends. You're going around thinking, oh, she's my best, and I'm like,
We're friends for a reason.
You see
You
this
know?
girl here. There was a day
Stop
we
it.
were talking, and I said, "Is this person your friend?" I said,
No.
Pause.
No, I didn't do this. I said no.
Hold on.
Like emphatic no.
"Very plenty attitude, though.
Like,
She's
don't
my
do
friend.
that.
She may not know, but she's not my friend. I don't know if she
She's
knows,
not
but she's
aware.
not my friend. But you see us, we're talking, and I'm like, Daddy, I was like, am I your friend?
Like, wait, where do I belong?
I hope I'm your friend, though.
Is that value you attach to it, right? Some is like, it's just what it is. It's like when you were growing up and you have somebody who lived with you or something. They know your brother, they know your sister, and then you just label everybody as cousins. My cousin. Yeah, not you, obviously.
Wait, Dami, am I your friend? Let's clarify it now.
No, I would say no, because you said you were investing in people, and I'm like, where's my money, boo? Where is my ROI? So
Do you want us to go there? We will not go there.
Hey,
no,
there's something you said I really like, and I feel like for me, this has been my own life story, where I have friends that their qualities may not necessarily be what there are some friends that I'm just like, I can't wait for this person to, just leave me.
They're
And
not your
how
friend.
how I'm able to cope is I know them for them. So
Right.
when they do,
Acceptance.
so I'm like, when they do, I know this is how this person is.
Right.
So when they do a certain type of thing, I'm not angry. I don't have expectations.
It's just
And
them.
that's how I do. Maybe like you said, maybe they're not my friends. Maybe they're just people I'm like, oh my God. And when they do stuff, I'm like, some things you do to me, I won't even do to you. But after a while, when I know this is how you are, there's no conversation.
And I get what you're saying, right? And when you said they know your friends, I don't quite agree. And I feel like they are different.
No, so I
They're
thought she
different.
was saying that she couldn't wait for the person to like leave her space.
Regardless,
or...
is the level of friendship. Like you have 10 people who are a group of friends, they're not close on the same level.
Yep.
Right? So it just
And
I think it's
preferences.
how much access that you have given, how much
And I was coming to
relationship
that.
you've gotten to build, how much trust you've come, and mutual respect. I think that's one of the qualities I was going to talk about. Just respect, right? You respect me, I respect you, even though you're not our banter. You know that when it comes to it, exactly. So I think it's okay. Yes, I did say in the beginning about using the term loosely, but I still think there are levels to it, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Right? There are levels to it.
There's
You
a
can't
20% friendship.
Yeah,
There's one that is 50%.
So you see, what I think is that there are levels within relationships.
Not just friendship.
Do you mean progressively?
Yes. I don't think, and one of the things that also sometimes I get curious about is why we're not very, at least what I've seen, why we've not learned to be comfortable with using the words like acquaintances, words like
neighbor,
things like that, because
you're watching out for people's feelings.
Why?
Be careful.
I'm okay with being a person's acquaintance. As a matter of fact, I feel like I know when I'm not your friend, and it's okay. You can't be everyone's friend, right? And again, maybe it's the meaning that I attach to friendship, and it's the value, the quality, the way I carry friendships, the extent I'm willing to go for friendships, knowing also that I cannot be that person for everybody.
Right. There's only one you, right?
And
did you learn that in a day?
No. So I'm sort of guessing that we would come to that, right? To experiences and all of those things, right? So I think at the base of it all is what I want to be is a good human being and a kind person, such that whether I am your friend on that level or not, I can be good to you.
I like that.
And I can leave you feeling good. Like we can leave a space where we've shared and all that, and you go and you have like positive, sweet thoughts about, maybe me or who I've been to you in that instance and all that, right? I've been a good human being to you and a kind person to you. But, and I mean, it doesn't mean that, we're friends. We could be acquaintances and, share ideas, share conversations, But I just feel like with friendship, again, like I said, maybe the way I take mine, right? There are certain things that we would share. There's certain depths, quote and unquote, that we would go that I don't think, not that I don't think, I will not, I will not be that way with anybody and everybody.
That's okay.
Right? Yeah, that's what I think. So maybe the other levels of friendship that you are talking about is what I am referring to as acquaintances. And I'm okay with, like,
what level kind of friendship.
Such words, right? And one of the things, I talked about being intentional about friendships, and it's just friendships, like I said, relationships generally. And honestly, one of the things that I do when a new person comes around me and we're sort of sharing that like vibe or sharing that closeness is, I could be a person of inquiry. I'm a person of inquiry. So when a new person comes around me and I know that, we're getting somewhat close and all of those things, I start to ask. In the place of prayer and all that, I start to, who is this person? Because sometimes we also mislabel people.
Right.
Right. They're friends, they're acquaintances, they are mentors. In fact, for me, there are people I call Egbon. They're, yes. Because those are people that, so for instance, I'll give you an example. For my friends are people, they are able to tell me the hard truth. Right? And there's no pushing it back and all that. We're able to have those hard conversations. But I also recognize that I'm human. And there are days that I just want to, maybe push back or something. My bonds are the people that my friends can reach out to say, Screw is losing from your sisters. Do you get? And they will come at me, not minding all those, sweet things that your friends want to do that, we are watching. Right. They will give it to you. Do you get? And set you straight. Do you get?
That's what I'm getting from all
Let's-
of this. I feel like it's giving.
But you are getting-
Yeah, I'm just feel
No.
like this is where I sit.
I feel like we've shared our truth and all that on the friendship level, but I've not pushed back in a way that will get you to say it's like.
That's because I'm your egg.
ah, Moving on.
So, where I want stories right now. Like, what is one relationship or one friendship? Anyone can start, but I want from both of you. What's that one thing that made you learn hard? Maybe you thought you were their friend and you find that they don't see you that way.
Broke your heart.
Or, yeah, it can be heartbreaking too. It doesn't have to be the opposite sex, So,
I'm not sure. It's unfortunate I do not quite have that story. Like, I don't know. I feel like I can.
you've never been betrayed. No.
Not quite. I usually, if at all, I'm not shook. I can pretty tell. I'm very good at most times at gauging and gauging where I stand.
With people.
And I've realized on time that what makes you disappointed in people or something is kind of the level of expectations that you have. So I used to have that measuring tape. It just kind of helps. Maybe it's a shield, whether I not. But I don't think I remember saying, "Oh, this is how I'm gonna do it." It's just been what it is. But I do have those friendships that and I'm one of those that I'm still learning how to have talk for hours, talk maybe weekly or daily. That's not a ministry I've broken into yet. Maybe I feel like it's a full-on ministry, but I do have this 3 amazing people in my life that who be this one. As I was saying, right? That we might not talk. Okay, there's 2 of us, there's 2 of them, and we might not talk for days, but when we do.
I'm still laughing at be this.
No, we're coming.
No, am I Egbo now? How dare you interrupt Egbo? Like, bruh, stop it.
Danny, you really
As I was saying,
realize that I'm not your mate.
no, I have this really 2 of my close friends that college brought us together, and we might not talk every day, but when we do, and you just know, and I think for me, beyond the daily chat, because I'm not the kind of person that requires that daily, personally. So it works. They know who I am. They leave me be, But when I know that it matters, they will show up. It's not a question. In short, you assign tasks.
I'm getting goosebumps.
You would assign, you just know that this day you're in charge of this, you're in charge of that. You're not asking if their calendar is available. Like, I don't care. Me time. So I have those 2. And there's this other of my friend, like, we've known each other for, how much am I? Since high school, anyway. And we can go months. Of course, she'll cross my mind. I'll just say hello and whatever. And then when we talk, we're talking for like 6 hours. And then if her husband walks into the room, he automatically knows who she's talking to. Those ones. And it was never a matter of, and I think maybe for me, it's one of the things that throws me off a lot and I don't quite is when, you say, oh, take me, or you've not called me in this. That's it for me. Of course, it's okay to feel like expectation, like, oh, she's checking once in a while, but I don't know, there's just something about it, but you understand it. It's not a requirement, but when the chips are down.
Yeah.
As in, you're thinking, when you need to do something, who do you, and they will as in, I think that's just summarily all of the little details here and there. You can finesse, you can figure it as you go along. But when it comes down to it, that support, that rock, there, whether you've goofed, you've not goofed. We'll change it for you, but we're there.
I totally agree. Right? I do, darling. And you see, when you were saying the 2 people, I was waiting for the 3rd person because I wanted to say I'm the 3rd. But as you said, high school.
I deem you.
Girl.
Okay.
So far from high school.
I don't understand. Did you go to high school with me?
So I totally agree with what you said, Damian. I think that's also a big part, right, of what friendship would be when the chips are down. That is one very critical one. People that that they would show up for you. I think that's also one very important one. But you see, one question I often ask is can we totally rule out expectations from friendships? And I will tell you what I mean. I feel like there's certain things that I think the other part to expectations is grace.
Is what?
Grace.
How do you
Learning
mean?
to give people grace.
Okay.
Such that when some basic things that you would think that these are like basic friendship expectations, right? When they don't meet those
they're
things,
lacking.
you're able to give the grace. But I don't think, because I feel like there's certain things that someone you call a friend will do that will break your heart no matter how
Right.
you've lowered the
Right.
You have
expectation.
Right.
expectations.
True.
They will break because they are humans at the end of the day, right? So it's also learning to give that grace at the end of the day. That's what I think. But I agree with.
I'm going to say this when you talk about grace. If you have someone who's truly your friend, while you give them grace, you need to discuss expectations. You need to have those conversations.
Oh no,
as well.
communication is a big part of friendship. Yeah,
This is what I
agree.
mean. Like if both of you are close and maybe you leave, this is just an example, 5 minutes away from me, and I tell you I'm not feeling well. If you can't make it, I can't make it.
Is there an option of not making it even?
So you see, that's the thing.
That's
an expectation. Yeah.
Right.
That's where the
Right.
grace comes in. But there is expectation that I'm not feeling well, I can't get up. Oh, I can't make it today. This is what because your sickness is not in my plan.
Right.
I didn't plan your.
I didn't
I
budget
that
it.
thing. So I should be able to say to you, I know you're not feeling well. See, I'll see you maybe later today.
Right.
Or, and if I can't make it, today was long.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like if the person doesn't do that, and you're feeling not feeling like 5 minutes away. Next time I want to just say, we're friends and all of that. And I understand, maybe you were, but this is what I thought would happen.
But I'm also thinking here, right? If you have that expectation in the first place, what I'm thinking, and you use the word grace, and I like that, is most likely you can also make excuses for them. Because that's not who they are. Like typically, I know that Dami will be at my door by now. So you won't automatically get upset. Or exactly. So it's not a pattern, right? So it would have been a matter of something must have.
I really like you bringing that context in. So my conversation is not like immediately you're complaining. I was sick. There's a reason why we're friends. I know you to an extent,
right?
But you didn't the first time you did it. Second time, I'm seeing it. I'm like,
yeah.
I think we should have a conversation. For me personally, if you're not in my space, I don't care. You might be 5 minutes away. If I say I'm sick, you don't come. If you don't mean that much to me, I don't care.
Right.
I don't even have that expectation. Or even if I'm supposed to have it, but if you don't mean it, but if you mean a lot to me, I want you to know that what you did,
right?
I have expectations
right.
Because I will move heaven and earth for you. So if we're not on that level, and that's what we're saying.
What have you moved for me?
I don't know.
What have I moved for you?
Yes.
Have I not moved your cup?
Shit.
When you ate, I moved your plate to the kitchen.
Oh, hey.
Let's go. That's a movement.
And later, you should be the third person. I should be mentioning him. I should mention your name.
I'm the fourth person.
In the fire.
I'm the fire.
Are you contesting?
Fire.
Are you contesting with Jesus now?
No, please.
Anyway, so I'm just saying that sometimes you need to learn to have those difficult conversations too. Like when expectations are met.
Yeah.
Rather than maybe give them, some people you might give them grace and just cut them off. But some they may not be aware of
what
some
is that
things that you do. That's the point I'm making. It's I feel like you have a story you want to tell us.
These are the issues of friendship. So, I mean, some people might be wondering, how did I get to this place of being really, being really, very clear about what friendship is to me, being comfortable about having acquaintances, right? And being friendly with people, but not being friends with them. And I feel like, so I'm going to describe every decade that I've lived so far.
I was going to ask that, but that's good.
More old. How many decades?
Excuse you, I'm just a young girl in my 30s.
Me too, Seller, mama. Proceed.
The few decades that I've lived so far. I'm going to describe the kind of person I've been with friendships and relationships. So in the first decade, right, up until, teenagehood and all of that, I used to be the seeking friendships, begging people to like me, going all out, sacrificing myself, bending forward, backwards, both sides and all that. You see that bending forward, backward? I feel like I'm still that person, but anyways.
You're very flexible, my friend.
Yeah, all of that, right? Really, begging for the friendships, going all out, sacrificing, putting myself, at my own detriment and all of that. I used to be that kind of person. And then when I got into my 20s, I became, I feel like I became a bit more intentional in that I knew that all these people I'm even begging to be, I don't want everybody to be my friend in the first place, right? I think that was the time when I then started becoming more self-aware on the kind of people that I even want as friends. That's when I started having an understanding of even my journey, the kind of relationships I want around me, because a big part of relationship is also influence, whether we
Right.
like it or not, right? So there could be that influence on your actions, influence on your mindset, and it doesn't happen overnight. It's over time that it happens, right? So having an understanding of who I am and where I'm going and all that also, made me start thinking, what kind of influence do I want around me? What kind of conversations do I want to be having? How do I want to carry myself? What kind you get just those kind of conversations. So in my 20s, I feel like I was a bit more not running to people, not needing, I wasn't that needy person anymore of relationships and all of those things, right? I was still quite, at least early 20s, I was still quite a bit of anybody and everybody. So I wasn't very strict on the values yet, right? And of course, that led to a bit of different
Like
kinds of
what?
experiences, right?
Give us one banging experience.
No, I can't give. Wait,
There, there.
wait.
There.
Wait, I'm just going to describe situations, right? So, case in point, one of my values that I hold very, especially with friendships and all that, is communication. I want us to talk. I'm not one to sweep things under the carpet. In time past, I used to just because I don't want things to escalate or go out of, I'll sweep it under the carpet and, hold it in. And I mean, I was getting hurt and all that. When I was younger, I used to have self-esteem issues and all of that, right? Just because I wanted to be the perfect person for. So one of the big things for me is communication. I remember this particular friendship, and I'm not going to give all the details because my plan is not to call anybody else.
You tell me after.
I've forgotten your mind. I don't have such conversations. So yeah, and so this relationship had been such that, and with communication, closely linked to it for me is trust, right? And we had been having issues. I sensed, and that's the other thing. I could be very sensitive, so I sensed there was something up. There was something worrying, talking about your disposition towards me had changed. I thought about everything I could have done. What could the issue be? So I, brought up the conversation to say, what is going on? Is there something I've done wrong? Is there? And it was the case of, oh, nothing. You've not done anything. Everything. But things are not, something has changed. Something has shifted. And I also understand the place of, seasons in relations. In fact, I was going to say it earlier that I don't think it's realistic. This talking every day adult friendships is not realistic. But anyways, with this friendship that I was talking about, I knew something had shifted, something had changed. And with the way I was sensing it, I knew it was not just a change of seasons or anything in the friendship. It wasn't just a random, or maybe we're going through stuff and all that, right? Personally, maybe this person is going through something. It wasn't that. Now, with that came, I started to feel unsafe. I'll tell you and please don't laugh, I'll tell you the level of the feeling unsafe I felt. It became so bad that sleeping in the same room, I would do things like checking under the bed, checking under the pillow, to be sure that because I'm we cannot be sharing this level of intimacy and sleeping on the same bed and all that. And there's something you are not, I could tell that
something wasn't.
There had been mean
Intentions.
dispositions and things that I know that this is this is a mean, and that's me not wanting to use the word wicked. Okay. This is a mean thing to do. What did I do to you? And I was really worried. Let's have this, I don't feel safe. Why are we having a conversation? So there was that. And it went on. Of course, I prayed about it and all of that. I just kept praying about it to say, I don't feel safe. We have to share the same space and all of those things. And a few days later, it then became, so this person had come to visit me, so it was in my space. She was staying with me for a while, right? It then became, just the night before, She just came in and said she's going to our house the following day. There was no plan as such. And I'm like, okay, are you coming back? Like, and she was like, oh no, she doesn't know. Going home wasn't the issue for me. Like, it was like a, and I'm like, so I said, okay, no problem. Would have the conversation and like we'll talk later and all that. So the next morning, very early, she picked her things and she left. I think that was one time that there was like I was really confused because I'm like, what is going? Like, what did I do to you? You know, and this is someone that we've shared moments, we've shared experiences, like, and trust me, like I'm dragging and saying, oh, let's go and do this thing, let's go and do this. I'm always that kind of person, like, I want us to share moments together, take all the pictures and all of that. So something has shifted. Why can't we have the conversation? So she left. As a matter of fact, when she left, I started looking for something. I'm sorry, but my rep is busy. I'm like, hey, they've taken my property to go and
To the what African magic.
African magic. And I'm like, I'm looking for these things. No, so that was a joke to say they took it to go and do anything. That was a joke. But when I was looking for it, I didn't find that item. And I'm like, I'm sure of where I put this thing. So I called her and said, oh, I'm looking for this thing. Do you have it? And she said, no. So we have a mutual friend. And I think a few days after that or something, the mutual friend saw her. And so we just got talking, myself and the mutual friend over the phone. And I don't know what we said to that point. And of course, my mutual friend knows that item with me. And so she knows, like when I mentioned it, she knew that. So when we were talking, just casually, of course, she didn't know what was happening. And I'm one person that when I'm having issues with someone, I'm not going to discuss it with somebody else, no matter how close it is. Like, I want us to have the conversation first before I go discuss it with someone else. So my mutual friend then said, you know, just randomly, she didn't know anything. And she was like, oh, this your item. I almost mentioned the person's name. This your item. So I saw it with this person when we saw ourselves a few days ago. And I'm like, but I asked her. And she said, no, she didn't have it. Like, so I didn't say anything. I didn't call her back. I didn't say anything. I didn't say I wanted it. I just let it go. And that was it. But after that time, and with the way that whole thing went, and I think that was also the time when I started having some level of self-awareness and what do I want and all of that. So I went on a Thanksgiving spree.
Okay.
Thank you, Lord, for taking this person out of my life. Because whatever it is, it wasn't feeling safe anymore. And there were just so many, pointers and so many things. And I'm like, what is this?
And that's where, when I said having a conversation.
Yeah.
And maybe you probably did something that would ordinarily hurt someone. I don't know. But if you did it subconsciously, and sometimes it's the motive, sometimes you look at. This person didn't know they did it. And that's why I say sometimes you're doing something to hurt a friend. They don't know. It's important before you do, let me cut you off.
Right.
Have a conversation.
Yeah.
And I'm talking like when you have genuine feelings for this person. Maybe this person had ulterior motives or something. I have no idea what happened, and I won't insinuate anything. Yeah. But like when you genuinely want to have friendship with somebody and you know this person, like you said, you know them, they're good, then have a conversation. Right. Rather than, because forever you don't even know what you did. How do you even correct it? Maybe something you could correct easily or apologize and say,
I'm sorry, that wasn't the intention. Yeah.
So I don't know. Friendship can be. Do you Do you believe in having a soulmate?
No.
What is
so we're not talking romantic soulmate.
No, I mean
the Lord is the owner of my soul. Even in romance, even in romance, what's going on around here? All that soulmate where?
What is it true?
Let's keep our souls.
Now we're coming down.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'm not quite sure I still fully grasp the concept of what a soulmate is supposed to be. So I'm not sure I can speak to that, because it's some sort of predestination. Is it preordination, predestination? Were you predestined? Were you selected beforehand?
I don't understand.
During manufacturing, they said, okay, this piece and this piece should go together. I don't know. I don't quite get the concept of soulmate. Are you attached for life, connected for life, or what is it?
You just have a friend that both of you I have one friend. Well, she's the closest friend that I've ever had. We don't talk every day. In fact, sometimes we just chat, hi, hi. It's just like what you were saying. And it's never, you working quick or you don't
Mm.
call.
Oh no, please.
But we can, when we want to talk, we can talk.
Hours.
We don't talk every time. I feel like we kind of gel. There was a day, there's just one time that I think she said something I didn't like. And I'm not somebody who likes to confront as well. But over time with maturity. And then I was maybe in my early 30s. And she just noticed that my mood changed. And she was like, what's wrong with you? She was just bugging me. And I said, this thing that you did. I said, oh, I didn't know. So, that's the only time when I know that we, I don't know what soulmate means, but I can say that we gel
You just
that way,
yeah.
right?
You're not
I don't know
soulmates.
if that was.
You're not soulmates. I
I
break the soulmate.
like
Please,
attachment for each other. I don't know if you guys have
it's
just
understanding.
that one
You
friend
guys have
that-
mutual understanding.
I think
you
you
just
know,
get
what
each other.
Yeah, what I picture is like a puzzle to just
Mhm.
fix
You
and just click.
Yeah.
I do have. I think that's it too, with what I do not say soulmate. It's the one that's clicking. I don't know whether soulmate is the right word, but the concept behind it, I think, is just that ease,
Yeah.
of relationship and just alignment,
Yeah.
aligning or
No
whatever. And I think
drama,
drama free,
nothing,
very good
like,
understanding.
mhm.
You share maybe values, and you just in the when you're in the room and you just look at each other, you said like full paragraph. It just gets you, So yeah, I think those do exist, and I think I have that even with my siblings, with my sisters, right?
A funny question.
We
Sorry
just
to cut
click.
in.
Yeah.
A funny question came to my mind like 2 days ago. And this is not insinuating anything, please. My siblings and I were very, we got each other. But I was asking myself that if a lot of people would, if we would ask ourselves that if our siblings were not our siblings, would we be comfortable having them as friends?
My siblings, yes.
I don't know how that question came to my mind, but I say,
I think mine would just,
I think
yeah.
if you have a sibling that you don't gel with, then your sibling you don't have a choice. When you don't gel with them, know that if you were
If
not
they were not your
siblings,
siblings,
you would
you
know.
won't be friends. No,
Right.
what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like even with my siblings, I'm closer to some than
So-
others. I don't know if how it is with you. Are you all close equally?
Mm,
And you have preferences as human beings.
definitely not equally.
Not, yeah.
Especially with my older sister, I've lived with her the most, so it just makes sense that,
Yeah.
but when in the room there is no,
Yeah.
it's just there,
everybody has
you
their-
know,
yeah.
you
their
know that
special-
you touch one,
yeah.
man,
Everybody
mount,
comes out.
man, mount.
You guys.
Oh, please, we don't play that. Stop it.
We don't play here.
Perish that thought right now.
Right.
No.
We will come for
I think that that
Yeah.
applies. So if that's what it's supposed to be, if it's that, that is that connection, that bond that nothing would break,
Yeah.
and then maybe those are my soulmates. But
very
if
good,
it's
yeah.
somebody that is tying soul together, I don't have.
Do you have deal breakers in friendships?
Yeah, I think it would be the opposite of the values or the characteristics we mentioned earlier. Like if you're not trustworthy, then that's a deal breaker. What are we doing here? I feel like you just flip it and that would be it. No mutual respect. No loyalty. That support is not there. Then yeah.
So I think for
that's
me,
it.
it's the fact that even earlier on, I'm looking for before I even get to the point of, sharing that kind of connection and friendship and on that level.
You're looking for a deal breaker.
No, which deal breaker?
Okay.
Like I'm saying, so how I shared that, how I said that the shared values and safety and mutual welcome. So I'm saying that and I also spoke about when someone comes around me and I'm sort of trying to vet, with the, why has this person come? What buckets do they sit
So
in?
were you vetting? Oh,
I
God.
vetted you, my darling. I did.
I must not ask my own. Hey, did you vet me before naming? Because I know you call me a bon.
Oh, we're both in
Is it the same
Excuse me.
category?
Don't.
Is it the same criteria that you use for?
This woman is HR, right? So you are shortlisting.
Oh, my darling, I did. I screened you. I shortlisted. I interviewed you. I did background check.
I have a question. for
Police
both of
check.
you. If you have somebody that's your friend that you really like, and you find out that they're doing something, maybe they're involved in something that you wouldn't agree to, how would you manage that relationship?
I will call them out. I'm just joking. I would have the conversation with them. I mean, I feel like
Okay, let me give a
Yeah.
specific. Maybe you find out that this friend is on hard drugs,
oh
and you know he's an,
Oh,
it
right.
may take a while or whatever, something like that. What
and you
would do?
found out along the way,
Yes, and they're already your friend.
or maybe they even fell into it along
Into
the way.
it
Not
along
that,
the way.
not
And
that.
you know that this person
It's
is,
not like at the
he's not really, he's not a bad, you know them, right? How would you manage that friendship?
I don't know. The first thing, I'm sorry, I'm a Jesus girl. It's Holy Ghost fire. I think the first thing that comes to mind is prayer, and not just prayer to like get out of whatever it is also how to support them, right? It's just how to, like, you're wondering how did this happen, but you don't want to go to that person with a sense of judgment and then push them away, or you're sinning differently. Your own is that drug, my own is so yours is worse. You don't want to do that. So the first thing that comes to mind easily is prayer for them, definitely, because that's not the path you want them on. And for yourself, how you support them on that journey. What do you say? Because you don't want to say the wrong things, right? You don't want to push them further along in the journey. You want to see how you can and try to figure it out, because you never know how people get into stuff like this. You don't know. I don't know.
But do you stay away from them because you are now back?
Stay.
No.
So I think it's a matter of how the friendship has progressed. How close to they, like, right? If you're saying this soulmate, there are people you connect with that matter to you, right? That matter to you. You not say, oh, you're doing this, Irido, peace out, like, cut them off. No, if you care about them, then you don't want them on that path, right? So the next thing is not to disassociate yourself. And I know I mentioned reputation, association, and blah, blah, blah. But if this was not something they did prior, because you wouldn't have been friends in the first place, I think. But something must have changed. Something must have gone wrong, right? So bring Jesus, the miracle worker and the healer, inside the equation, the counselor, and then, whatever support you can offer. And hopefully, they come out of it before it's too detrimental to their health or their life, derail their life altogether, because that's not the path you want anyone on.
It's interesting that when you ask that question, and I feel like maybe that's also the way that's the one of the reasons why I'm the way I am with friendships. And because I'd said that I could be very invested, every kind of investment, emotionally invested and all of that. Because when you ask that question, in my head, I was already picturing if actually one of my friends get into that. And the state of my mind, I was already like really feeling concerned to say, what happened? And I could be that kind of person, like almost like taking on someone else's to say, like, what happened? Like, this is not who you are. Right? So there's already that kind of thing. But I think it's really beneficial what I made sure to say. Go to the place of prayer and pray about it and all that. And also figure out how to support this person. So are there organizations, are there, what are practical help that you can offer this person? The one you can do on your own. So what kind of research do you need to do, for instance, for someone in that case to, as a means, for help and all that? Is it therapy? Is it even getting to the bottom of how did we get here? Right.
That was just an example. It could be anything.
It could be. So seeking to really understand the root of matter and also knowing the person. I think that's one important one, right? Knowing the person, because that's when you know when something is really not aligned with who this person is, and something must have gone wrong in that mix. And yes, praying about it, offering practical help to the person to get out of that, and honestly just safely being there for the person. And I say safely being there because even for the other party in the friendship, case in point here, maybe me, I also need to understand. And I said, there's also influence in friendship.
Right.
I also need to understand where I am and how vulnerable, how solidified, for lack of a better word, in my identity. In my identity and my another. And that's me just putting two people together and all that. Because in that kind of situation, there might also be need for boundaries. So you must learn how to provide help, but within certain boundaries, right? So it's also knowing yourself and knowing, how you can, support that person. Yeah.
Right. It's been a beautiful conversation. Now we are at the end. I don't know if there's something you want to tell your audience, your mates out there, your boss out there. Just one word of yeah. How do because friendship, whether you like it or not, friendship is what why some people are have mental health issues,
Yeah.
or why people keep to themselves, maybe
Yeah.
experiences or whatever, right? So,
Yeah.
what? Just one word.
I would say, for friendships, whether adult friendship or just friendship generally,
Mhm.
the first thing I want to say is even before seeking friendships is knowing yourself.
Mhm.
I feel like self-awareness plays a very big part in friendships. So knowing yourself, understanding yourself, and then also understanding that honestly we cannot live life alone. So as clear about friendship and all of that as I am, I also know that I mean I'm very relationship driven anyway. I've just sort of put structure and boundaries and all of those things around
Very
it.
relationship driven.
Oh, I'm very relationship driven. They know. But I've just put structure and boundaries and all of that to also, even for myself, right? So, yes, know yourself, self awareness, understand that you cannot do life alone, and then find your community.
Yeah.
Your community are the people that know you, that get you, that within that community, you can then have, your friends, your acquaintances, or whatever it is. And then you also know where, people are. But when you find your own people, um for me there's no holding back with me, right? There's no holding. So I would say when you find those people, let it be mutual, right? There's that scripture that says that anyone who would have friends must also show themselves friendly, right? So when you find your own people and all that, don't let it be one-sided, right? Play your part and
deliberate about it.
be deliberate. Yes, be deliberate about it, especially with adult friendships. There's a lot of intentionality and being deliberate about adult friendships and all, right?
And I know some people are not people who call, but it gets to a point where maybe I'm the one calling you and calling you.
All the
You
time.
don't call. It gets to a point where I'm like, I also
That's
need
it.
somebody to call me.
Mm.
If I'm
Yeah.
going off my whatever,
Which is why stuff is mutual commitment, is shared commitment. And you see, it's the way that it is in like romantic relationships where both parties have to learn their love language, right? So if you know that the way that you feed my love tank is through calls and all of that,
You have love tank.
my darling, I've got love very
Hey,
GP
wait.
tank. If you know that the way that you fill my love tank is through phone calls, for instance, I don't think it's too much to ask for you to make the effort once in a while. It will then be grace on my part to know that you might not be as consistent as I am with phone calls, but you make the effort. And I see that and I appreciate it.
Sure.
Yeah. But I don't think it's you outrightly saying you can't, I don't think it's you outrightly saying that you can't make phone calls. That's just weird. You see this concept of that's who I am, take me like
Take me like
I don't
that.
want to take rubbish. Please.
David, do you have something for your people, for your fans?
Sup. I think basically what Itunu said, and friendship, you can't do life alone. I don't think even your creator intended for you to do it alone. So yes, you might have been hurt, by some choices or people in the past. I think you should try it again. When you find the good ones, they're worth it. They stick. You need that support. You need those cheerleaders right behind you with pom on, just cheering you on. People to rant with, pray with, have fun with. People do matter, and you matter. So you deserve, to find your community, to find your people.
I'll just round this up by saying there was a day Pastor D, you know her?
Yeah.
And at this I never forgot. That there are 3 types of confidence that you need. You need God confidence. You need and God confidence is knowing your identity, who you are in Christ, and all that. All the promises are yours. You need people confidence. And what do I mean by that? People who believe in you.
Got your back. Yeah.
You're drawing caricature. You're drawing caricature. I'm telling you, it's not a lie. I'm like, you need to improve on this. Maybe get some course, but you need people around you to cheer you, and those things give you confidence.
Yeah.
Or who will tell you the truth.
Exactly. I was gonna say it's not only confidence.
Because
also
if I feel like you're beautiful, I want to tell you to know you're beautiful,
Babe.
If you have bad behavior, I want to tell you. And I want to be told.
Yeah. And then you need self-confidence. You may not get it in a day. You may not have it now. It's something you can work towards. If you realize you need work on it, be deliberate to, improve it. And with that, I want to say thank you so much to these ladies. See, you did not even see half of their character.
So we're very deep.
But
Yeah.
I'm going to say thank you so much for saying
Thank
yes.
you.
Thank you for being flexible. I don't take your time for granted.
You're
Please.
welcome.
I really appreciate that you're here. Say bye to the audience.
Bye,
And
people.
Adios.
until next time on another episode of Life Couch with Fady. Be well.
Life on the
Like,
couch
like,
with
subscribe,
Fady.
share.
Talk it all out, set your mind free. Life on